Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of Beyond Talks. So I have with me my dear friend Bhuvan. Hi Bhuvan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Raghav. To all our viewers, welcome to Beyond Realms.
Bhuvan, in the previous video, we had spoken about how we are mindlessly using mobiles, like without us even wanting to. And towards the end, we had also touched upon a very parallel but an important topic of the price that we are paying for it. So I felt it would be apt to dwell on that topic a bit further and ask the real question: is attention the newest currency out in the world? All these while we have been thinking money is running the world, and that's true. But lately, I've beginning to feel there is another aspect to it because people are craving and fighting more for attention than for money these days.
Very true.
And I thought I will put it out for a discussion.
Thank you, Raghav. Yes, Raghav, this question again asks us to reflect on how are we dealing with things. Like, let's just start. How do we start our day? I'll tell you how I start my day. Before my feet even touches the floor, I'm looking at my phone. As soon as I wake up, I just look at my phone. I just see if there's any notification or is there anything to catch up on. There is nothing, to be honest. I mean, it's a fact. You're just picking up the phone because you're habituated and you just try to look at something, your messages, your reels, or. And so my attention, even before the day has begun, it is spent on this particular phone. I just look at it, and what at the end, what is the outcome? There is no outcome. I've just spent my time, my attention to something which could have waited for some time. This is my perspective on how I start my day. It is really, I waste a lot of time just looking at it.
Yeah, interesting you bring it up because you said that there's no outcome in all of this. I have a slightly differentiated opinion on this. I feel that everything is competing for you, as in, we don't even notice it.
True.
We all would have seen the memes that Netflix or these OTT platforms or Instagram or Facebook, they are all free of cost. I mean, not Netflix. Most of these social media apps are free of cost, but the real cost that you're paying is time. I feel that along with time, it also requires your focus. That's why they have these colors, these sounds, these vibrations, which makes you scroll endlessly. It tunes your mind in a certain way that you want to keep going rather than to take a break. So if something doesn't grab your attention in a couple of seconds, it disappears. We would have also felt this many times. Some
True.
video I'm watching,
Yes.
I can't watch it again. So it goes away completely. Maybe not because it's valuable, but because that's the attention span you have. And that is how the bigger system has made you.
Very true. In fact, what I understand, goldfish, I think attention span is it's just 3 seconds. So ours is shorter than that. That is worrisome, actually, to be very honest. Again, another part is how we consume the content. I could give you an example. There are a couple of news reporters who deliver the speech in such a way it is a lot of it filled with lot of anger, lot of fear, or something of that sort, that becomes vital. What I want to touch upon is the content, how we're consuming. If it is an angry content, it reaches the masses very fast. So, effectively, what I assume is that a calm explanation would not go all the way. Doesn't it rarely becomes viral? A loud accusation does. It's not because it's true, but because it holds your attention. It Because your attention doesn't respond to depth. When there is an angry content, you are just looking at something, you're getting attracted because it is loud, it is a lot of anger, fear, shock, all of this are there. So I feel you know even the algorithms used by a lot of media, it caters to certain things. Like if I might have watched something for longer than 2 seconds, that becomes a baseline, and then I start getting content in a similar way, and most of the content are sort of linked with the previous one. It just caters, it personalized, and then mindless scrolling happens. This is how it keeps you in that vicious circle. You're not able to get out of it. This is what I feel.
You also mentioned that the loud contents gets viral quicker. So you mean to say that our contents, there's no scope for our contents to go viral? And that's
I
my
don't
takeaway.
expect our viewers to hear us yelling and shouting and howling. No, I think it's just that the contents, if you deliver it normally, it attracts very certain section of people. So overall, what I'm trying to say, there's no logic to it. These days, anything, everything becomes viral.
You can never predict. There's random videos gets viral, but that again, I circle back to the important question of how attention has changed, and we notice how people talk now. The talks are much shorter, louder, more extreme. I feel that it happens because mild thoughts don't survive online. No, you can never say something normal and expect people to take notice of you. So mindfully we try to exaggerate, not to lie, but to get noticed. That's how I would say, because the whole point of us being in social media is to get noticed, right? This is the pathway to that.
True. I also feel this is being used against us. Even when you look at normal advertising, it's not there anymore. We don't really buy things anymore. We are nudged into them. It is, there's the product. There might be a product. It used to come on a television and we like it, don't like it. It's our opinion. But now it prompts you. Let's say you have discussed something with your friend to pick up some, let's say, a footwear. You suddenly start, you might be observing all the things related to the footwear start showing up in your feed. You're like slowly nudged into, it's very different the way things are being advertised now. It's like, look at this before you look away. So there's a lot of influencer being used, a lot of pop-ups, a lot of recommendation, personalized recommendation. So your attention is sold, it is sliced, it is measured, not at once, constantly. There is a struggle, there is always way this is happening, and it's all like you're getting nudged into the topic. It's all like you're not having a silence presence of yourself. It's like you're being watched and you're being catered to your attention, how what you need to do further. It's sort of like somebody else is controlling it.
Yeah, that last line, somebody else is controlling, is kind of true. So how do we get around it? How do you protect yourself from people competing for your attention?
Again, Raghav, I'm not an expert in this topic, but I did practice Vipassana a few years back. And in Vipassana, what you do is you sit in a place, all you need is 2 by 2 2 feet by 2 feet space. You sit comfortably and then you just observe your breathing pattern. So, what I'm effectively saying is just try observing yourself sitting quietly in a room. You don't need to have your phone with you, you don't need to have music. Initially, it might feel uncomfortable because silence earns no attention. And sometimes we are pushed into thinking silence feels unproductive, but it is not so. So, in today's world, we fear that whatever doesn't earn attention feels useless. So, it will take a lot of effort, a lot of time. It is a gradual process. We come out of it and then we can understand that we need to be comfortable with ourselves. Then probably we could unlearn a lot of things what we have learned in the past and then try to focus on something interesting.
I hope we have the patience, and we are conscious enough to pull this off. Yes, that looks like one of solution to get around it, but actually we haven't touched upon how it affects us as an individual. What happens when attention is becomes a currency? We need to start addressing the real questions, that we lose the depth in our thoughts. We no longer think deeply, rather it's shallow. The focus is more on speed rather than depth, and the thinking process is lost to the reacting process. We react quickly than we actually put our brains into thinking, and slowly we have completely changed as humans in this sense. The You have any other take on this? The real cost of the real cost that we didn't notice.
See, your attention is constantly being pulled outward. you just lose the habit of looking inward. So what happens is that's when you sit silently in a place, for some people it's very difficult, they can't do it, they need to have a gadget, they need to do something because it's a process, it's been, that's how their brains have been wired. So even thought process, it becomes very tiring. How many of us in recent days we just go to ChatGPT or any other AI platform just to seek answers? We no longer think. Even what I've heard from some of our friends is that they just copy the email and then they ask ChatGPT or any other AI platform form a response. So long thoughts, it is very tiring sometimes. Reading books, come on, I think it has become like an ancient thing to do. That's what I feel. It's like that thought itself, it has become slow. And even if you observe the conversations, what we are having, no longer we are sitting and having a discussion. Back in those days when they used to wind up by sunset, they used to sit under a tree and have a chat. That conversation used to be long, lengthy, thoughtful, and so many other things. They had all sort of things to discuss. But now I feel it just rushed. Even when you see the way we text each other, lot of words are getting shrunk. It is not the proper usage of the language, I would say. Again, language is just there to communicate, but it's all feels rushed. See, it's not because you have changed, to be very honest, because your attention span is so small, you're trained in such a way that you pick up these things. That's what I feel. So it begs me another question: is attention the real currency?
I feel that the most powerful thing today is not having more information, but choosing to, what deserves your attention. And when it comes to the currency question, I feel the world is going to take you in that route. It is up to us to hold the guard and choose where to spend the currency on, because the world has changed.
Beautifully summed up, Tata. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhuvan.